The AP Advanced Placement or AP program was created by College Board to help high school students experience college level courses. At the end of the year, students will take an exam which is scored from 1 to 5, with passing scores being 3 or higher. As you can see on the screen here, this graph by College Board shows the AP score distribution by ethnicity in 2019. And Asian Americans and white students passed more exams than African American and Hispanic Latino students. This shows that there is a major ethnic scoring gap.
This brings us to a research question. From 2015 to 2019, to what extent does ethnicity have a negative impact on the AP scores of Florida students? My name is Vandana Manchakanti.
My name is Aditya Krishnan.
My name is Shruti Shrikant.
And my name is Luca Camargo Michaels. Our argument is from 2015 to 2019, identifying with certain ethnicities has had a negative impact on the AP scores of Florida students, caused by bias towards different ethnicities, differences in socioeconomic status, and cultural differences between different ethnic groups. The first factor that negatively impacts AP students is socioeconomic status and the income gap between different ethnic groups in the state of Florida. Students' home environment and academic performance is directly impacted by socioeconomic status, and students with lower socioeconomic background have less access to the same resources that students with higher socioeconomic backgrounds have. In a study by Bonnie Bittman, she linked lower socioeconomic status to lower AP scores and reduced accessibility to the program, in particular highlighting how Black, Hispanic, and Latino students have less access to the program as a result of an income gap. Showing in this graph here, adjusted for inflation, median adjusted household income in the year of 2014 shows that in the year of 1967, white Asian students had a $20,000 increase over Hispanic and Black students in median household income. This stays true over to the year of 2014, where the gap in fact increases to over $30,000 divide between the different ethnic groups. This shows how Hispanic, Black, and Latino students, they have less access and they receive lower scores on AP as a result of socioeconomic status.
The income gap between ethnicities is not always negative. It can also result in positive impacts, especially when it comes to white families. According to Pew Research, the average white net worth is 13 times greater than Black families. This results in students from white families being able to afford more resources, which in turn results in them having a greater advantage to score higher on AP exams.
Bias towards certain ethnicities can also negatively impact AP students. One reason why this occurs is because of stereotypes. A common stereotype is that African American, Hispanic, and Latino students do not perform as well academically compared to their peers. This can cause them to not feel as confident in their abilities to succeed on the AP exam. Furthermore, according to Bonnie Bittman, non-white students tend to see AP courses as for white students only, and this can detrimentally affect non-white students as they feel that they don't belong in these AP courses. Additionally, educator bias can also negatively impact AP students, as Hispanic, Latino, and African American students do not feel they belong in AP courses. As you can see, only 3 out of 10 African American students took an AP science course even when they showed high potential for that course. This shows that teachers and staff may hesitate to put AP students in AP courses because of the stereotypes that surround that student's ethnicity.
An example of one ethnicity that showcases positive stereotypes are Asian students. Asian students are stereotypically known to be high achievers and generally more intelligent. A study by Jennifer Lee, a professor of sociology at the University of California, shows that the large gap between the percentage of Chinese immigrants with a bachelor's degree are higher compared to the United States average. This large gap between education levels shows that the stereotypes of Asian students are generally taken from the high education level of their parents, which are usually immigrants. This results in Asian students tend to have higher AP scores being backed up by their highly educated parents.
One final factor that negatively impacts AP students are cultural differences. One example of a cultural difference that affects AP students is emphasis on academics. According to Amanda Zhu, Asian Americans put more emphasis on academics compared to other ethnicities that believe that their success in academics only comes off of innate cognitive abilities. As you can see on the graph, which shows the time spent doing homework by high school students on average, Black and Hispanic students are the lower two bars, showing that they don't put as much emphasis on academics than Asian Americans and white students. Another cultural difference that affects AP scores is parental involvement. Parents of Hispanic, Latino, and African American students do not put as much effort in checking their child's grades and talking with teachers if concerns arise, and because of this, their students are not doing as well, and hence they're less likely to have academic achievement.
On the other hand, when it comes to positive parental achievement, a study by Susan Kim and Minzo showed from the Harvard Educational Review showed that educated and affluent parents tend to seek more opportunities to be involved in their students' academic lives. In this study, they showed that about 80% of whites and 90% of Chinese families were more involved with students talking to their school activities with their parents. And when it came to parents talking with their children about homework, it was around 90% of both white and Chinese families that did this. This proves that positive parental involvement directly correlates with high educational achievement. And this is a major reason why white students and Asian students tend to score higher on AP exams.
A solution to decrease the disproportionate scores across ethnicities is to increase funding for low-income students. This will allow low-income students to gain more access to resources and materials that could boost their chances of success on the AP exam. However, a limitation to our solution is that it may not be financially plausible. The state of Florida already pays for the AP exams of all students and may not want to support this additional cost. Our solution also does not address all the factors that contribute to the scoring gap between ethnicities, as it does not take into account things like cultural factors and biases. Despite these limitations, our solution will still reduce the equity gap between AP scores of ethnicities, as low-income students most often come from the ethnicities that score lower on the AP exam. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
All right, I'm just gonna, take a step back. There you go. All right, I'm just gonna literally go your right to left, my left to right, just go down with the questions. So Luca, you're up first. Luca, in what way did you improve your ability to work with a group as a result of this project?
I learned a lot about communication because me, myself, usually I don't really work well with groups, coming from me preferring to do independent work. And working with this group has really improved my communication, and it's also improved my ability to just collaborate on different things. The team, multimedia presentation, it also opened my eyes because combining every single one of us' individual essays into this single presentation kind of,
That's got nothing to do with it.
combining all of our ideas into one presentation really opened my eyes, since I see it as a new way of collaboration, and being able to work together was just a really good way for me to learn.
All right. Aditya, reflecting on your colleagues' work, which one had the greatest impact on your overall understanding of the problem you identified?
Reflecting on my colleague's work, basically the one that had the greatest impact on the problem was Shruti's paper, because her paper focused on the positive impact that ethnicity has on AP scores. She focused on white and Asian students, and that really opened up a new perspective to show that not all ethnicities suffer from having poor AP scores.
All right. Shruti, in the future, what change would you make to your group norms, and how would you expect them to improve your team presentation?
One change I would make to our group norms is to meet more outside of class, because while we were preparing for this presentation, we only met up once outside of class, and I feel like if we had met up more, we would have been more prepared for doing the presentation.
All right, thank you. Sorry, I'm scribbling. Okay, and sending the last one up, Vandana. Describe how the content of your team presentation was changed as a result of group discussions.
From group discussions, originally we had 3 claims, and our first claim was racial bias, and we changed that claim to a lack of accessibility because racial bias really came really similar to our second claim, which was stereotypes. And because of this very similar thing that they could be grouped together, we decided to make it different. So we had lack of accessibility, stereotypes, and cultural differences.